Hi everyone, my name is Ashlee. I hold a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition. I'm a licensed nurse and I'm also a business owner and entrepreneur focused on supporting aging women. Did you know that nearly 80% of women experience severe menopausal symptoms that impact their daily lives? Menopause is a major transition in women's health, yet we still don't fully understand how diet might influence these symptoms. Gaining this understanding could help women improve both their health and quality of life during this stage. The goal of this study, published in 2024, was to examine the association between adherence to a Mediterranean-style diet and the severity of menopausal symptoms in perimenopausal and menopausal Australian women. To explore this, researchers used a cross-sectional study design, which provides a snapshot of health behaviors and outcomes at a single point in time. This approach is particularly useful for determining prevalence, identifying correlations, and generating hypotheses for future research. It is also relatively fast and cost-effective. However, it's important to note the limitations. Because this study observes participants at only one point in time, we cannot establish cause and effect relationships, and there is limited generalizability of the findings. This highlights the need for caution when interpreting the results. Let's review the key findings from the study. Overall, adherence to the Mediterranean-style diet was not associated with overall severity of menopausal symptoms. One possible explanation for this finding is that few participants achieved high adherence, which may reflect challenges of following a Mediterranean-style diet in a non-Mediterranean population. However, when we look closer at specific outcomes, we see some interesting associations. Higher adherence to the Mediterranean diet was linked to better physical function, which is a subscale of health-related quality of life. This suggests that aspects of the diet may support mobility and daily functioning. Low intake of sugar-sweetened beverages was associated with fewer joint and muscle complaints, highlighting how limiting added sugar can positively impact specific symptoms. Higher legume consumption was associated with better physical function, reflecting the benefits of plant-based protein and fiber in the diet. Low intake of red and processed meat was associated with better general health, reinforcing recommendations to moderate these foods in the diet. These findings indicate that while the Mediterranean diet as a whole may not directly reduce menopausal symptom severity, certain dietary behaviors and food choices can still have meaningful impacts on women's health and quality of life during menopause. It's important to understand the context and barriers surrounding dietary adherence. Even though the Mediterranean diet is associated with many health benefits, following it can be challenging, especially in non-Mediterranean populations. In this study, Australian women reported several barriers to adopting this style of eating, including limited knowledge about Mediterranean-style foods and recipes, motivational challenges to consistently choose healthier options, affordability, as fresh produce, nuts, and olive oil can be costly, time constraints, making meal planning and preparation difficult, stability, including changes in routines or access to ingredients. These barriers help explain why high adherence to a Mediterranean diet was uncommon in this population, and they highlight the need for practical, culturally appropriate strategies when promoting dietary changes for menopausal health. In conclusion, this study found that adherence to a Mediterranean-style diet was not strongly associated with the severity of menopausal symptoms in Australian women. However, certain dietary behaviors, such as limiting sugar-sweetened beverages, may still play a role in reducing specific symptoms like joint and muscle complaints. The findings also emphasize the practical challenges of following a Mediterranean-style diet in non-Mediterranean populations, including knowledge, motivation, affordability, time, and stability. Understanding these barriers is crucial for designing effective dietary interventions. For future research, longitudinal studies are needed to better understand how diet impacts menopausal health over time. Investigating culturally tailored dietary strategies and the role for specific nutrient-rich foods could provide more actionable guidance for women looking to improve their health and quality of life during menopause. Ultimately, this research highlights that while overall dietary patterns are important, small, practical changes in everyday eating habits may be the most achievable way to support women's health during menopause. And this is my reference slide. Thank you for watching.